Hey guys, welcome to Cult Film Interview, the podcast where we discuss the films you love and no one else gets, and we see if they still hold up. Tonight, things are getting a little buggy, so make sure you have some raid ready because we're talking about arachnophobia. So let's start the show. Hey guys, thanks for joining the cult wherever you are. We really appreciate it. Do us a favor, head over to iTunes. We will give you a shout out at the end of the show if you leave us a review. We got one to do.
Shout out.
Oh, I don't even think we're going to need the effect.
I think you might have ruined that take. Too much
power.
Too much power up front. You're drowning out the host.
Thank you.
All that power.
That's how it always is. There's a break there when I say shout out, and then he comes back in.
You're
Guys,
not
just
getting
let it
I'm
happen,
just joking,
okay?
dude.
Just let it happen.
I put life into
Part of
that.
the comedy,
I put
Kyle.
life into
God
that.
damn it! I was doing a fucking bit.
It's
well,
a bit, Kyle.
well, your bit wasn't good.
I
It was
don't
too
know.
believable.
2 bits, Kyle. That's what we should call him.
Your bit should be 90% believable with 10%
Unbelievable.
10%.
unknown. Unknown.
All right, I'm going to start from the top of that again here.
Why?
No, you don't have to.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
do it.
I'm gonna keep that
Get
in
the
there.
flow in. Get the flow going.
All right, do it again. I'll just do a
Float
regular
up.
shout out.
Float up, Cody.
Do a regular shout out.
Hey guys, thanks for joining the cult. We really appreciate it. Do us a favor, head over to iTunes, leave us a review. We will give you a shout out at the end of the show. We got one to do.
Shout out. Shout out. I got 3 options now.
And then when you're done with that, head over to cultfilmandreview.com. Make sure that you check out the latest episodes, you check out the latest videos. And then, YouTube. Also on YouTube, you can check out we record the episodes video now. And those are starting to release every Monday. One will come out. We just had Doom Generation come out, and then there's one this week coming out. I don't remember.
I forget which one it is.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a good plug.
Every Monday.
It's a mystery.
I mean, you just say we
Or
have
Tuesday.
we
We'll
have
see.
video versions of the episodes on YouTube now, and then
Mhm.
you're just in and out. It's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Psh.
So the first video we released was the one where we primarily talk about eating our own cum.
Yeah. We
Right.
really
All
kick
right.
it off.
I don't think any of us said our own, but I get the concern.
I didn't tell you that story.
It was a very risque episode. It
Again, Kyle,
was.
that was. God damn it.
And I yes and on top of it.
I don't know if you did.
Yeah,
Your
see?
face didn't yes and.
It's too serious.
So when you're done with that, make sure that you join us March 15th at Phoenix Film Bar for Pink Flamingos. Should be a good time. They can get tickets where, Chris?
The film bar, phx.com.
And as always, I am joined by Kyle Smith,
Hey, how's it going?
Chris Willenbeck,
Hey, what's up?
and Michael Salustio.
Hello, everybody.
Tonight we are talking about Arachnophobia. It was directed by Frank Marshall. Came out in 1990. Had a budget of $22 million. Made $53 million in the box office, and currently sits at a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
This was Cody's pick. Cody, why did you pick Arachnophobia?
That's a good question because I don't know. I'll be honest right off the get-go. I don't know if this qualifies as a cult film, but this is one that I recently rediscovered showing my kid, and I had such a good time doing it that I wanted to talk about it because I didn't know how long it had been since you guys had seen this film. And also, I chose this film because it's weird. There was a protest against this film from spider lovers because they thought it painted a bad image of spiders. And to be honest, this kind of goes into the next question too of why I picked it. But the first time I saw this movie was I was my son's age.
Is this spider racism? Do you guys think this is bigotry towards spiders? What do you
Yes.
think? Hard-hitting questions tonight on Cult Film and Review.
But here's the thing. I was like the same age as my son when I saw this. So around like 5 years old, I was in a neighbor's basement with my sister and her friend and her younger brother. And this movie was on the television. I can't remember if it was on HBO or something like that. And I remember watching it, and all that I can remember from this movie is the spider crawling out of the mouth and then running up the head. And I have been terrified of spiders since I've seen this movie. I deathly afraid of them. I hate spiders. So this one has always been like just a movie that's stuck with me and has been extremely terrifying to me since I was a young child. So I thought it'd be fun to revisit it and talk about it. Kyle, when's the last time that you've seen, or when was the first time that you saw Arachnophobia?
I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I've seen this movie a lot, probably
Way a lot.
way a lot. Last time I watched it was probably about a year ago because I think I found it used in Blu-ray at the Zia, so I was like, oh, cool. I wanted to see this because I haven't seen it in a while. But yeah, I've always enjoyed this movie. I kind of lean towards the side that I think it might be a cult film, or at the very least, it's a cult film in my heart. You know?
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel like it is in my
I
heart,
love this
too.
movie. It's. I mean, we're not going to get to reviews. There's some criticisms.
Yeah.
But
Chris?
Yeah, I've seen this movie a bunch of times. This was definitely like a childhood favorite. It was probably the movie that gave me arachnophobia. You know, like I don't like spiders either. Like that's one of those things that creeps me out, you know, and this film puts you in any scenario that you could possibly find yourself in, you know, in real life, like maybe in real life, like, oh, in the cereal box, oh, in the, you know what I mean? And it makes you, oh, double check under the toilet, double check in the shower. Like, it gave me those irrational fears about spiders. I will credit it.
That toilet one really fucked with me for a lot of years.
Dude, I'm still afraid of that shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was definitely a staple for me.
Mike?
Saw it in theaters. Then I think I gave it another shot on Showtime, and then I never watched it again because I hated it.
What?
So
Wow.
this is and I'm not saying that I haven't like that's gonna affect actually my review actually today, because I haven't seen it since I was like fucking 9.
Okay.
But yeah, like I remember as like I think 9, and then seeing it at 10. I think I remember like this is the earliest remembrance of a film that I didn't like for whatever reason.
Weird.
That I did not want to watch. And I
Do you
was like,
remember the
and
reason?
It wasn't because of fear of spiders or anything like
Was
that.
Did you
it-
see it
was
too
it
many
the-
times?
No, he just
saw it in
he's
theaters.
seen it twice.
I had seen it twice. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I saw it in bits and pieces on
Is
Showtime.
it the lack
but
of sorcery?
Just
yeah, I think it's the
9-year-old.
lack of swords or sorcery or really no. No, I don't know why. I don't remember. All I remember as even going into this, when you picked it, I was like, fuck. Like, but here's the thing, I couldn't remember really much about this film. All I remember is just like, man, I have some kind of lingering like dislike towards this film for whatever reason. Something didn't impress me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I watched it, and it went on for the next 30 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So,
This will be fun. We get to
Coming
hear.
back to it, yeah, like this is I did my
Still
best to like
going.
keep blind eye. Sorry.
He's like I didn't.
I don't want to make it seem like that's my fucking review. Like, by the way, I hated this film, and I'm fucking pissed that
I
we
didn't
had to do it.
remember
Like,
why I hated this film until it started again, and then there was that motherfucker Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
He's like-
As soon as I saw old
he just
Jeff.
has some weird hate for
Yeah.
Jeff
Like,
Daniels.
who hates Jeff
Why do you
Daniels?
hate Jeff Daniels? Fuck him, that motherfucker. I don't understand it. Like, Dumb and Dumber piece of shit, motherfucker.
I don't. He's not believable as a doctor.
It's just a real angry 9-year-old at Jeff Daniels for some reason. I don't know, but yeah, it caused it, dude. I had no fear before spiders of spiders before I saw this movie.
I was
That's a
gonna
true
say.
fucking
I
story.
was gonna say like I don't. I definitely hate spiders. I don't have a fear. Like if there's one that got I'll deal with it. I just have this. I think my fear is more like fucking stinking things. Like
I'm definitely afraid they're just crawling all over me while I sleep.
going into your
Guess
throat.
what?
Yep,
They have.
Yeah.
They have.
Swallowing them when you sleep.
I
Just
know.
don't know it.
I know.
Yeah.
But I do love spider
hard
movies.
to live
I've
with
been
that.
like really intrigued by spider movies.
I love
my
spider
whole
movies
life.
too. I even like because I show Eben these movies
Yeah.
because they're fun. But Eight-Legged Freaks, that's just a fun fucking spider movie.
It is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
it
watched the other day, about a month ago, I just watched Kingdom of the Spiders, which is a tarantula movie that takes place here in Arizona, starring William Shatner.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, tarantulas decide to just, they like human flesh.
They do. That's
So,
a true story,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
You know what? We should probably get to the plot of this movie. So it's time for Plots with Mike.
Okay, well, Arachnophobia starts off with this. He seems like a pretty a working class photographer dude. He shows up in a rainforest, and there's
Sick gig.
sick gig. Yeah, totally.
Everyone's a
Sorry.
fucking photographer in this.
Yeah,
I know.
sets down into like the rainforest, I guess from Jurassic Park or something. I don't know where you're at. Costa Rica? I don't know where they're
It's
at.
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It plays a pivotal role in the rest of the film,
I don't think
actually.
it really plays a pivotal.
I feel
role.
like they say Venezuela like at least 100 times in this
Okay.
At least 130.
Maybe
yeah.
they do. Anyway, so they're there. They don't really tell a guy at first like what he's there for, but he's basically like, you're here to videotape some insects and stuff like that. And they have these two guides, and they guide him into this part of the wilderness that even they don't want to go, right? So they go down into this kind of pit, and they notice that like there's bigger spider webs there, and this guy is, this professor is talking about how this area hasn't been changed for millions of years, so there probably are like species that haven't even been discovered yet, right? So he does this thing, which right off the bat you can tell I don't know if he's an unethical kind of guy, but he sprays it with a bunch of gas. It all comes down, and one of the things that comes down is this spider that ends up biting this guy and getting back to the mainland. And from there, it holes up into this young doctor's barn, and it spreads and starts killing the town off. And that's where I'll end it, because the rest of the film is how will they or will they not get bitten the fuck out of?
I was
How many more will die?
I was really like on your every word, trying to see how you're gonna bring that home, because for the first 90% of that, you were just describing the first 5 minutes. Of the movie. I was like, how much longer is
But
this
here's the
gonna be?
And the reason why is because I feel like
He's just gonna do the show by himself.
we'll get into it a little early, but I feel like this film, you have to really explain exactly how fucking spiders descend on a small Rockwellian town.
Right.
Like, you have to explain that shit.
Yeah.
So, like, I felt like I was like, man, how am I gonna? Because the rest of the film is just, can we get away from spiders?
The answer is no.
Or just interesting on how it landed in this small town.
Yeah.
It turns into a mystery.
Oh, God damn it, Kyle.
A mystery.
You know what? You have a whole
A foot.
a whole
Indeed.
show to bring out your review. A whole show to talk about it.
Well, we could say the same thing about you there.
No, I'm done. That's all I actually wanted to say about the film.
Well-
4. No.
Also, fuck Jeff Daniels. No.
And I'm talking at 1 star because of that fucking Jeff Daniels.
God damn, dude, he really hates Jeff Daniels.
Shit.
Let's do this. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about arachnophobia.
Jeff Daniels.
And we are back. We're talking about arachnophobia. It came out in 1990. Had a budget of $22 million, made $53 in the box.
We already
office.
did this part.
I
Yeah.
know.
Where were
Yeah,
you?
he's always
go right
reminding
all
I'd
over
like to, just like to catch up
always
the
reminding
fans where we're
people.
at. And most of this budget is spent
Stats.
in the first 15 minutes of the film. Where
Is
they go-
it? Is that true?
No, I'm just making that up. It
Okay.
feels that way.
It's an epic
You think-
intro.
Do you think fucking helicopter shots are cheap?
No, helicopter
No.
shots are expensive.
It's
So,
go on.
I was gonna
Sorry.
That's
say-
2 helicopters.
but they're always in Steven Spielberg or Frank Marshall movies.
Well,
so.
I mean, I don't know that I would say Steven Spielberg. Like,
he produced
yes, he did.
because
We'll talk about that. But I mean, I understand that. What I mean to say, I feel like this is cinematography of its time.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I agree.
You
Absolutely.
don't
Oh, I
see this,
agree.
like, even in
Absolutely.
like, I didn't see a lot of this stuff in like Ready Player One. You know?
Yeah, no.
Like, he's kind of matured as a film, and
Oh, I
I shouldn't say matured, but he's changed with the times to fit a style.
You're talking about Spielberg.
Yeah, I mean,
Frank Marshall,
what
I
I'm
don't
saying-
believe has.
What do you mean?
Frank Marshall, the director.
the director of this film.
Yeah, I don't think he has grown like that.
Oh yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that.
like
oh,
cinematically,
Yeah,
okay.
I would say like his style. This is his style of film.
really?
Me and Chris were talking about it a little bit, like walking down the stairs on our first break there. Little inside information, stairs. And I was saying
We're
we
not on the ground.
I was making the joke that I'm like this and Congo are like the same fucking movie. It just Congo has communications. Like that's the difference.
Yeah,
like
I mean, no,
Yeah.
no.
they're both like adventure films. Like
Yeah, but Congo takes place like all
mythical new
in the jungle.
creatures. Like yeah, thankfully.
No. I'm not gonna get the mythical
Yeah, I don't
creature
know.
aspect of that. I would say the way it
No, I
shares
said like-
similarities in terms of the way that
Gray gorillas
us
are
us traveling to that location is shot. How about that? That felt
Gray gorillas are an unchanged species that's been around for like hundreds of years. Same thing with this goddamn spider.
well. No, you said mutant spider, but you're correct. It is a mutation of
Well, yeah,
that
once-
spider
yeah,
and a common
once-
house spider.
It does. What? Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit here, but
Well, that's not a mutation.
it's just crossbreeding.
Yeah.
It's just love. Really, what this movie is about. Thankfully, I haven't said this in a long time. Really, what this movie is about is young love. Young
It's
spider love.
definitely spider love.
Spider love.
Nobody
spider
saw that.
love.
This is actually a romance.
Nope. It's in the romance.
It's a
genre
ro-
thing.
Kind of is.
It's
at the
romantic.
beginning.
rom-com.
It's
Yeah.
romantic. It's rom-com. That's
It's
what
a
it is.
rom-com.
No, so this movie opens up really cool with this photographer, boating through the jungle, finally pulls up to this island, and he's there, and he's got this fever. I think that's pretty important to bring that up. He's got the fever for spiders. He's just got like a bad fever. He's been sick. That's why he's late. The
Okay.
fucking Dr.
remember.
Warlock.
His actual name is weird.
Warlock.
Julian
Warlock.
Sands was
Yes.
Atherton. Dr. James
Dr. Atherton.
Yeah, so
Atherton.
he's like kind of a dick just right when he shows up. He's like, dude, we gotta go. What the fuck is
Dude,
taking
he's
you
a
so
snooty
long?
scientist.
Yeah.
He is.
He
He's
only cares about this one thing.
which is it's really funny. You find out that this photographer is like an NFL photographer,
Mhm.
and so he's like, he gets there and he's like, hey man, I got this fever. That's why it took me so long to get here. And he's like, I don't care. Get in the fucking helicopter. Let's go.
Mhm.
And then we have this long opening credit scene that is shot in helicopters.
Looks beautiful.
It
Yeah.
does, man.
Super scenic, giant waterfalls.
I'm sorry, but it reminds me very much of Jurassic Park.
It's
I get more of a Congo
I
vibe
laughed.
than Jurassic Park.
I laughed because I was like, okay, yeah. I've seen this done a few times where Spielberg is involved.
Yeah, he likes the helicopter shots.
Yeah, he likes helicopters going into jungles slowly.
Yeah.
That it is.
like
I want the whole
curving,
shot.
carving out around mountainsides
true.
with things like
That is a common. It feels like something. Like I want it from
Well,
takeoff to landing.
it's grand. It's very high
24
production
hours
value, man.
straight.
It is.
It is.
And then you find out like there's dangerous things in this jungle because there's ants that can kill you. There's fucking other
Yeah.
bugs that can kill you.
They're set up how
Yeah,
dangerous.
and they have a guide with them, you know, that's like straight up from the jungle. And
looks like Cannibal Holocaust, maybe
like,
kind of situation.
yeah, he's just there along for the chilling in the helicopter, like let's do this. And they get to where they're going, and they go to a certain point. At least their guide will take them to the certain point, and it's where it's like untouched because of erosion.
Yes, essentially, this is like
Yes.
like
It's a
this
sinkhole.
is a depression or a sinkhole that because of how remote it is, it has not been touched by no human has ever been there before. So it's just this completely unchanged world.
Yeah, and they basically go down in there, and there's this big tree, and they start setting up all these
The
weird.
Given tree.
Yeah, they start setting up all these weird canisters. They take out this weird looking chainsaw thing. It's not a chainsaw though.
No.
You thought that looked like a chainsaw?
It's like a
I
smoke
think so.
gun.
You know what I thought it looked
I
like?
always
It
saw-
looked like an upgraded version of Vakeman's weird thing he had in Dana's apartment.
It's like a giant leaf blower, but
It always.
Yeah.
But the way it sounded always reminded me of a chainsaw from when I was a kid. Yeah.
That's a leaf blower sound.
No, that thing is like
What the
I
hell,
don't know.
Chet? What chainsaw got like trumpets that you've been listening to?
Trumpets? What were you?
Were you
What?
getting
What? We're talking about
chainsaws and leaf
the bugs.
blowers.
But no, now we're talking about the spiders start falling out of the trees, and this is where I think I probably shit my pants the first time as a kid
Oh,
because you're just letting bugs fall out of a tree
Mhm.
onto you. Like,
I
Yeah,
love
that-
the anticipation though, because he's like everybody's putting their hats on and shit. It's
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
gentlemen,
I know. I'm just,
What?
I'm
This is
just
gonna
like
be-
picturing getting knocked in the head with something
like
heavy.
a snake or something.
dude, but why can't
Yeah.
we smarten up the photographer? Why can't someone say, "Hey, dude, like some
This is
bugs
about
are gonna
to
be,
happen.
yeah."
Yeah, let's talk about that. They fucking treat this photographer like shit
Like
from
shit.
the moment he
Shit.
lands to the time he dies. Like, and it
Yes.
makes no fucking sense to me why
Can't-
they're such assholes about it.
I cannot figure that out either.
I wonder. There's got to be like a prequel to this where like the original photographer fell through and this guy was like the third choice. You know,
I feel
and
like
they're just upset about it
like
to
he was
begin
an
with.
NFL like photographer down on his luck. And he was just like, I don't know anything
Yeah.
about wildlife
Taking
photography,
any
but you know
gig,
what? I'll take
yeah.
any gig I can. And fucking Julian Sands is just like, we need a cheap photographer,
Yeah.
one that's expendable.
I
Yeah.
just couldn't wrap my head around
One
it
that
because
can
like
jive.
they don't tell him what's about to happen, and then when it does happen, it's just like shoot, like they're yelling. It's just like, well, once you fucking tell me, I can get set up, I can be prepared to capture this fucking amazing event that I'm witnessing.
Yeah,
well,
the
just-
journey was pretty long.
he should, but
actually.
listen, he should have known though.
They could have gone over things.
When Julian asked, the only interview question he asked him for the gig was, "Will you be missed?" He should have known that something was up. You know, like that's just not an
If
interview.
you died, would anyone care?
It's not an interview question you really want to answer.
so fucking weird.
Mm-mm.
It's so weird.
You'd have to pay a
Dude,
lot of
I'm
money.
getting right back on the plane. I'm like, nope.
Literally from the second he fucking pulls up on shore, man, they're just dicks to him.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't
I
understand
felt
why.
bad.
either.
I felt bad for this photographer because I mean, he just seemed like a dude who took a shitty gig because he had to take a gig, even though he had like a horrible fever.
It seemed like a high
he
pressure,
needed money.
high pressure situation. You know, like they were like, "This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to
I
explore
didn't
this
know if the-
uncharted
well-
territory. We need a photographer who can fucking handle the jungle."
Well, he makes it seem like
this sick asshole shows up.
it's never said, but he makes it seem like there's some sort of like time limit.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't figure out either. I'm like, if they left on Wednesday versus Tuesday, where the spider's gonna be gone for like 1,000 years,
the guy had other shit to do. Okay, he had other
could al-
tours to
they
get.
could only
Yeah.
They can only get the guide for one day.
Yeah, he was off. That was his off
Guys,
day.
I got people looking for a
We
rare
got-
board
we
over
got-
here. I got the goddamn
We
plant
got a
guys
good- we
over
got a
here.
good
They're looking
rate.
for
We
this
gotta go
fucking
now.
fern.
Can I just say that though? I was happy to see Julian Sands in this role.
Yes!
Like, I like Julian Sands.
No,
did
I
I.
do too. He's just so creepy, man.
He's weird. He's
every
he's a
time.
very unique
Yeah.
actor.
Well,
and-
it's weird how he goes from the beginning of this movie, or you go from like hating him to the end of this movie, where you're like, he's not that bad.
no.
Yeah,
Really?
I was
Yeah.
like, I was on his side at the end. I was
He's
like,
just
you know,
a fucking
this guy's,
spider
This
nerd.
guy's just he's just a fucking nerd.
He's a spider nerd.
And-
That's all- yeah.
Anyways, like the
I
as
think I
these
disagree with you guys. but
as
all
these
right.
spiders are falling, all you just start hearing is rocks, doo doo doo, falling into these goddamn containers, and it turns out to be these spiders, and they ain't dead.
No, just curled up.
They're supposed to be dead, but they ain't dead. And we're lucky the photographer didn't die right away. That one that jumps on his lens that he steps on,
Oh,
Yeah,
dude. Number one, first jump scare, and that got me.
It's a good jump scare.
Solid.
Good.
I
jump
knew it was
scare.
coming too, and I was like, son of
Even-
a bitch, you got me.
Even to
Yeah.
this day. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It didn't get me.
didn't get you.
No.
Oh, still gets me. Still gets me to this
Sorry,
day.
guys.
But
It's
yeah,
like being a robot.
Yeah.
they decide they're gonna kill two.
Affirmative.
They said they're going to kill two, capture two, and take them back and study them. What they don't know, lurking in the shadows, is the general.
Mhm.
And that's the male spider. And this spider's like, you know what? I'm fucking blowing this. I see my way
Dude,
out.
that whole scene felt like Mission Impossible or
Yeah.
some
Right?
shit. It was
Yeah,
like
it
the
does.
spider was doing some like, some deep espionage tactics and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like he
close up his
literally
eyes.
moves like 300 feet so he can get to a higher point to leap onto the bags. I was like, the fuck? Nah,
Damn,
let
fucking
this spider
solid
go.
He's like,
snake
fuck.
of
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
spiders flying around. He got in a cardboard box at one point in
He's
time. No one could see him.
The stealthy spider.
He's like the triple X of spiders. He's.
I like the solid stick reference
Well,
better.
I like-
Triple X.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
he's not doing extreme
Are
sports.
you
He's
serious?
Yeah,
he's
dude.
being a stealth
did you-
assassin.
I'm
You
trying
went
to get.
that
I'm trying to do something up to date
Every
for the
time
kids.
I think about Triple X, that's
What's
what I
wrong with
think
Metal
about
Gear Solid?
stealth
That's current.
espionage. Not him blowing up shit on a fucking snoop.
That's what this. Listen, this spider. This by
doing
the end-
fucking dirt bike
Hey,
tricks over
yeah.
a fucking cocaine
Fucking with a
plant.
machine gun.
by the end of this movie, the spider literally can do all those things.
Pretty much.
Probably.
Pretty much,
I'll
yeah.
agree with you on that one.
Yeah, the general knows how, he's a very stealthy spider, and he hitches a
Yeah.
ride back on the gurney
And in the backpack, and he's
or the
he-
backpack. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's along for the ride. And then when they get to camp, photographer needs to rest up because he's got the fever going on.
He looks like shit.
He
Yeah.
does.
He's not doing
Sweating
well.
his ass off.
I'd be so pissed if I was him in that situation.
And then General Spider gets revenge.
I don't know why he got. Oh, because he stepped on. Okay, yeah,
Mm.
okay.
This is where they do the classic for you see like the shadow behind the tent creeping
Yes.
up
Yep.
and over, and I just love the way they build the anticipation.
I'm like
with
that
the
dude's got to
spider.
have like the most intense fever of his life. Because if I feel some like massive fucking creature climbing up my leg
Just
or
thinking
on the
of those
same cot
spiders.
as me, like I'm up and out. I'm not gonna be
Ugh.
like, what is it?
And a thing on that too. I know you guys are a little younger than me, so like I remember the like trailer for this film so vividly that like I remember exactly like what shots were like repeated over and over again, and that
Yeah.
like spider coming down
Mhm.
was like one of them, and then the woman in the bed saying like it's only a spider. Like I just remember
Yeah.
that entire trailer.
Yeah, I agree. It was played like pretty. They promoted the hell out of this movie.
I feel like they had to have because
Yeah.
Was there a
I think I
McDonald's
remember.
tie-in?
It could have been, man.
I'm
Like I'm not even joking. Like I think I remember the marketing for this film more than I remember the film
Well,
itself.
this was
Oh.
Disney's first film under I think Hollywood Films. I think it was.
It was it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They
yeah.
wanted to go more adult.
No, is this when they created Columbia?
No, it's Hollywood something.
There was an era where Disney tried to do some sort of
Well, remember at the end
R-rated.
of the 80s, they split off those more adult themed films into was it TriStar? Or they created
Oh, yeah,
TriStar
this was-
for that?
This was the first film released by Walt Disney Studios Hollywood Pictures label.
okay.
So I would imagine they would probably want to promote the hell out of it to make that somewhat of a successful label.
Yeah,
would be the
absolutely.
idea of
Okay.
that.
Makes sense.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
And yeah. So he's bit by the spider and instantly dies, and
Mhm.
that's again as a kid. Now you're like, fuck, spider can bite you once and you're dead.
You like
Yeah.
suffocate. And actually, I gotta give them credit. Like for showing like blood and like fangs like stabbing into
Yeah,
flesh.
those look fucking huge. Didn't
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
they really like. I mean, even watching through my child eyes, I was like, yeah, that looks pretty
they? Yeah,
fucking
fucking terrifying.
intense.
Jesus.
So,
And I like how they all died. Did you guys notice? I love this is one thing I'll touch on now. I like the continuity of the deaths from these because even the bird has a little dripping of blood coming out of its mouth.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
single person in this movie, when they get bit by this general, they have like blood dripping out of the mouth. And the bird that picks him up and carries him in the beginning
Mhm.
has the same blood drip. And I was like, that's that's cool continuity.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that on the bird. I'll have to go
yeah.
back and watch it.
I remember
Well,
that.
yeah, you got to get a 70-inch TV, Cody.
That's what you got to
Yeah.
do. You're gonna fucking
Sitting
see
off
that kind of
22
detail.
inch. Go put
in
that
4K.
fucking that kitchen TV
What do you
away.
think I paid for?
Gotta get rid of that SpongeBob TV, Cody.
So he dies. They put him up in a fucking wood box and they send him back home. And I love this transition because it's like it is like going over the what you think is like the ocean of this place, and then blends in. And even the music takes this great change right there, where it blends seamlessly into like the hometown feeling song as the hearse is basically driving him
Right.
back home to this town. And then they open this box and dude, cool effect of this body just fucking dried up and all just
It's like a raisin.
oh dude, it's such a cool look too.
And I love that
all-
I love the he's not the coroner, right? He's at the funeral home.
He's a mortician.
Yeah, he's a
Mortician
mortician.
there.
Yeah.
I love his conversation, even though it's a sad conversation. Like all of his conversations, movies, like had me like laughing and like
Yeah.
him like telling me, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna recommend a closed casket, and then it's just the back and forth. I thought was really good.
But that scene's so good because of the tension building, because you
Yeah.
can see the spider legs like climbing up the side of the box as he's having this, and he's like reaching his hand in the body. You're like, when's he gonna get bit? When's he gonna die?
Yeah.
When's he
Right.
gonna get bit? But it doesn't happen.
This is the good old days when you weren't able to show everything because of effects like limitations.
I really like this scene too because, like, their reaction to seeing the body the first time
Yeah.
is so like, wait, he's not the same as he was in the like something's fucking
Yeah.
wrong with his body, and like they linger on that shot, like that almost POV from the dead body
Mm-hmm.
shot for a while, and
Yeah.
let that draw out for a while, and you're just sitting there the whole time thinking like
What's
there's
wrong?
got to be something wrong with his fucking body,
Yeah.
right? Like, why do they look at it all weird? He looked normal to me. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. I thought that was a really impressive way to
Dude,
hold one
Yeah.
angle for so long.
this movie does a really good job of building tension throughout. Like, there's moments where you're like,
Yep.
oh, this motherfucker is gonna get it.
It's edited well. It's edited in a way that I think it plays to the audience's like to our like stress and our tension and tries to like, that scene is a great example because the effect, if they just showed it to us the corpse just right away, it might not have been impactful, but you had that slow build up anticipation of seeing these people react to it.
Yeah, like
and
what's
then-
wrong with it?
Yeah, and this movie does an amazing job at the editing is fantastic because all these scenes, and I think it might be around a limitation of, I mean, obviously they had real spiders on set, but showing these cooler, the general are effects, and maybe they aren't, but probably not effects that look amazing if you showed everything right up front.
Yeah.
So they play to those strengths in this movie. I really like that. I noticed that this time around.
Yeah, they use things to hide the spider a little bit or to only
they
show
draw
a
shit
section
out,
of
you
it.
know?
Yeah, exactly. I even think like one of the shots looked like somebody had probably a glove that looked like that looked like a spider, and they
legs.
were just kind of doing that shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool things in this. And then so the spider gets out of the mortuary?
Often?
What's
Well,
the,
okay, yeah, the mortuary, sure.
Yeah, and is picked up by a crow and does not make it very far because it bites the crow. The crow drops to the ground. This is where we're introduced to the family here and our main character.
It's a great
just
introduction too.
terrible luck, by the way.
It's
the
terrible
worst
luck. Yeah, yeah,
luck-
this guy's the most unlucky
Yeah.
son of a bitch going right.
ever.
Right, for real, dude. It sucks to be Jeff Daniels, which is so weird. Why
What was
Mike
his name
hates
in
him.
this? Dr. What? It's Jeff
Dr. Ross
Dr. Jennings.
Jennings.
yes.
Dr. Jennings, yeah.
Get Jennings. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jennings.
So we finally get to meet them, and they move into town, and we find out that they're from the big city. That they've moved there because the old doctor of the town is retiring, and he's taking over all of his patients, and he's now got a wine cellar because he's super into fucking wine. you
Yeah, which I
know?
thought was an interesting, like, big character,
Yeah.
like, reveal. Like they really wanted you to know that he was super into wine because he picks up a bottle and he's like, "That's a Chateau Le Fafon, like
Yeah.
1974."
It's a
And
Margot.
yeah, and he's like going on and on and on about it for
It's
a
a fucking
while.
Margot.
They really draw that weird character trait to the point where I was like, okay, like this is gonna be like the weapon at the end or something.
Right.
Like it's one of those things
Yeah.
that like I feel like
You know somehow it's going to be involved.
yeah, like 90s blockbusters did this a lot where they were
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I have a really big thing for coins, and you know he's gonna kill him with a coin at the end somehow. Like
foreshadowing like a motherfucker.
yeah.
Yeah. And you do get that. And so he's going to meet with the doctor. Is it tomorrow? Is it the next day? I can't remember the exact timeline on that. But before he does, his son is also a little bit of arachnophobia, as we'll find out the doctor is too, because there's a spider in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And his kid's scared of it, and Dr. Jennings is scared of it, and the wife has to get it, and they take it and they put it in the barn.
Mhm.
Where now the general is also gone.
Yep. So then I get keep going.
And that's when things get steamy.
Yeah, because there's this great line about it'd be bad luck. Jeff Daniels makes with his wife about it being bad luck if they don't make love in the house on the first night.
Right.
She
Yeah.
had made a comment earlier, and then it's like them going to bed together, and then it cuts to the fucking spider love scene where it's like them getting
Don't you know,
close.
they have that moment where like there's a couple and they're sitting at a bar and they haven't met, and then they go to reach for the same spoon. And they like touch hands for a second, then look up immediately and lock eyes for a little bit,
Yes.
and that's the connection. They had
Love
a
it.
spider moment of that. Like they
Yes.
reach for the same piece of straw.
That shit. Watching that again, it's like it's so dumb, but like you just don't. You're like, okay, I can forgive
It works. Like,
Like,
well, at this point, they've definitely set up the comedy
Yes.
aspect, or the lightheartedness that the film has, as well as like the horror aspect. I mean, they do nice balance.
yeah.
I feel like.
Well, yeah, because then, as the next day goes on, we find out that Dr. Metcalf, the old doctor in town, he won't fucking retire because he's an old son of a bitch.
What a son of a
Stubborn.
God, that
Just
fucking
an
and that
asshole.
scene makes me fucking angry.
I'm so pissed.
And I was like, oh, you old motherfucker.
Yeah, like, how could you do
It's
that
like-
to somebody? Hey,
Yeah.
uproot your whole family and life and then
Yeah.
come here because I'm planning on
buy
retiring.
a house.
Yeah.
Like what an asshole. Dick move.
Real dick move. Super dick move.
I fucking hate that doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was to the point where I felt like
You're okay with him
even
dying.
Jeff Daniels, I was kind of like, how are you so stupid to make a big move like this?
Yeah.
I can't trust this old fucker.
I mean,
Did you not get to know? I would be like, I need to know everything about you. I need to like go over your house and like have dinner with you one day. Like if I'm gonna uproot
That's
my whole
true.
family based on one dude's decision,
Yeah, that's true.
like I'm getting to know that guy like he's a fucking brother.
Mhm.
yeah.
Like there's no fucking way.
Send
I'm just
Christmas
showing up
cards.
and being like, so that one conversation we had on the phone, like that was real though, right? Like you were serious, right? Bought a house, dude.
Yeah, it turns out he's not serious.
Nope.
No, not
Yeah.
serious at all.
So he's got to go home and
No.
tell his wife now that, hey, I have no patience. But he
has
has one.
one patient.
But he has
oh,
one.
this is when his luck changes
Right.
conveniently.
Because he meets a woman who,
Used to
for
be.
some reason, has a real bad fucking hate for the old doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Because
definitely.
I really don't know where this
She
comes
just strikes
from.
me as the sassy old lady in town.
Yeah, but like, what draws her to Jeff
No,
Daniels that
I
puts pity on him?
I put it as she's a hip old lady. Like she's like, no, this town needs to change. Like we can't always be stuck in the past. Like things need to move forward.
Here's what I think. I think she was like, my husband used to be a draft dodger. We were hippies.
Yeah.
And we
Mhm.
settled down in this old burg here, and
He passed away.
passed away when I was 40. And
I inherited his
these old
fortune.
codgers out here, they just don't understand about love. Doc,
I don't know. Either
I'm
way,
your new patient.
it was literally the most perfect situation. Like he walks out all
He's
sad.
getting a ticket.
He's getting a ticket.
the sweetest, spunkiest old lady
Yeah,
going.
she knows everybody,
She-
and she
yeah.
knows that everybody's full of shit and like they have no power.
Right.
So she can do whatever the fuck she wants. She could murder somebody.
I think she did. I think she murdered her husband.
Getting away with
She
shit.
does.
Murdered her
That's why
husband.
that's the real story.
That's the real fucking.
She's been escaping.
That's actually the
the
prequel.
fuzz this whole
That's
time.
the prequel to Arachnophobia.
She was on a current
Spider
affair last
justice.
Well,
week.
she
They had
clearly
a-
has enough political power to like draw people to her home to throw a party for the doctor.
right, because that's
That's
her.
why social clout.
That's her plan because that's how Dr. Metcalf
Metcalf.
got his staple in this town. How he he
Yeah,
got accepted
she
in this
also
town.
threw a party for him. Think about that.
Yeah, after the war. after the war, Kyle.
I know. It's
And then he
crazy.
misdiagnosed her some like atorvastatin or some shit. Like
Yeah.
she got super pissed off for her,
Yeah.
whatever reason.
She's healthy as he's hoping, she's diseased.
That is what the movie uses as the excuse, right? Like that's the only thing I gathered.
What do you mean? Excuse for what?
She goes into the doctor. She goes to meet Jeff Daniels for the first time, or Dr. Jennings in this, and then he's like, "You're fit as a fiddle," and she's just like, "Really? I don't have high blood pressure." And he's just like, "No." And then she points out that the old doctor
Yeah.
had prescribed her this medication for
Okay.
high blood pressure that doesn't seem to be doing anything negative to her. And I I feel like that's
No.
what the movie uses as an
She-
excuse as to why she doesn't now
she
like
brings
the
it-
old doctor.
She,
No,
she
no,
brings it
I-
up later at the party. She brings up that she feels much better now that she's not taking the pills.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, but okay. But like,
I mean, those pills
I
are
think
gonna
she
do
just-
something.
I think she just knew that he was old and he's not up to date on like
Yeah.
fucking the latest
Well,
science. And
that's
she's like,
exactly
I
right.
don't.
I really
I'm
think,
old.
I think she's just excited about someone new coming.
I'm
into
old. I
town.
don't want to die.
so
Let
do
me
you
get a
think
young
she's
hot
taking it
doctor
like
and Jeff
upon
Daniels.
herself to be kind of like
She's the welcoming
ma-
committee.
the mayor and like in the side, the one that's like really kind of like
Yeah, she takes upon
trying to
herself
make
to
things
make
better.
people like feel welcome, just let them like settle in and become part of the town. That's what she wants to see happen.
she's
with
just excited
Jennings.
to see new people
Yes,
here. She
absolutely.
wants new blood.
That's where it's
she
coming
wants
from.
the little town to.
She's a woman.
excel
She's
or
a woman
something.
who wants options. And
Margaret
now she has
is
one.
Margaret is her name, by the way. I finally figured.
Oh,
fucking
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
thank
I
you.
didn't know were we offending Margaret?
No,
by
no,
not
it,
mentioning-
no. It just finally.
Go back and ask
I've been
her.
I've been talking about it. I'm like, what the hell? And I got it even written down here.
I have it written down. Don't forget Margaret.
Because after she's
She
because
has
af-
a name.
no,
say
because
it.
after she's seen, of course, what's the worst thing after your only patient you see could happen? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen to her?
She could die.
She can fucking die
right,
right after you see her.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens to Dr. Goodluck? Dr. Jennings, she dies. She gets bit by one of the spiders that now have had an egg.
The offspring spiders.
Yeah, they've laid pulsating sacs that have
Yeah.
now broke loose into little baby spiders that are spreading out in a web formation and killing everything around it
Right.
Mm-hmm.
to protect its home. And she's the first one because she's their neighbor. And she gets bit and she dies. And here we go, man. Fucking Metcalf, asshole that he is, shows up and is like, "Oh, you took her off the medication? That's what
Right.
killed her."
Mm-hmm.
And the cop's an idiot too.
Yeah, well, he's got it in for
Town's
him
full
too.
of idiots.
See, that
Yeah.
the medication thing kind of sets up this little plot that like now people are suspecting the doctor of
Right.
malpractice, yeah, or murder, maybe.
Well, it turns into murder because the next thing at her funeral, the football coach is like, "Hey, come down. I got a job for you. Check the players, make sure they're all good." He goes down there, checks the players, and then what do you think happens?
One of
One of those
dies.
players
Fucking
dies.
player dies.
Yeah, and
He gets bit.
and now he takes on the new nickname of Dr. Death.
And yeah, man. So now he's seen two people. They've both died
on his watch.
on
essentially.
his watch.
to everybody's
Yeah.
to the outside.
By the way, that turn and cough scene
Dude, weird.
was that
Very
weird.
weird.
Scene? Like, what was that about?
Yeah,
Was
it's
that
like-
like comedy?
That
in
was
1990?
comedy. I think that was comedy.
Yeah, dude. Because that's what you
Yeah,
never-
because
I can
like-
tell you
So
never played
weird.
sports
Oh.
because
well, no,
that
no,
happens.
But here's the thing that was weird about it. The way they draw the joke out, like he goes to like 12 guys,
Yeah.
and they do it over and over.
Yeah,
I
'cause
do like the last guy. It's just like,
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays a comedy would have just been like, "All right, turn and cough," and that would have been the joke.
Yeah, but also
Right.
nowadays, nowadays it would have shown the full on dick because that's like the new funny thing to do, show full dick.
Right. Right.
It is. That's
No,
like the new. That's like the new thing.
it's the new comedy.
It's the
Dick,
new
man.
boobs.
Dick, bro. Never seen a 70s movie. Dick,
It's
bro.
it's the new boobs. It's the new boobs.
What are you talking about?
Dick's
There's-
the new boobs.
I feel like the 70s had a lot of dicks.
70s did have a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
not
dicks.
for
Yeah,
like
it
not-
disappeared,
Not
though.
for
Those
not
dicks
for
disappeared.
comedic.
Those
Dick-
dicks.
Those
Those
dicks
were
went in
hold on.
hiding.
Those
They
Most of
came
those,
back.
most of the time, those dicks were for artistic purposes. Where
Artistic dick.
now it's
I don't
used
know.
for comedic purposes. these
Comedic
dicks.
dick.
Yeah.
This is comedic dick.
It's artistic
very
dick
different.
Can you
versus
write- can you-
comedic dick
Can
on
you write
Cold
the
Film
next
Review.
article for coldfilmreview.com? I want a whole treatise.
Comedic
on
versus
comedic
artistic.
versus artistic
Artistic
dick
dick.
in film.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
It's
A
this
dissertation by
fucking,
Cody
this
Everett.
fucking 400-page manifesto. Jesus.
So-
it's a PhD.
After the football player dies, Dr. fucking Metcalf finally fucking dies as he's bitching about
Yep.
That's right.
after he's bitching about the new Dr. Jennings because he's still like he becomes this competitive old fuck like I'm gonna put him out of business. I'm like again, you
Again,
fucked this
don't
guy
understand
over
why.
and now you want to like drive him out of town.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Dude, Jennings is like, I even felt bad for his wife. She's like, we could go for a walk if you want to get some exercise. And he's just like, shut that shit down.
Yeah. I need to time myself.
Yeah.
When he got
Pissed.
bit, I was so happy.
Now I've lost my rhythm.
Well, this is the bite in the film that made me the most nervous in real
Oh,
life.
in the
What
Yeah.
about Margaret's when
Ugh.
she turns off the light, though? We didn't even talk about that. Her bite, I
Oh.
feel like it's, woof, that scared the shit out
Just
of me.
comes down super fast.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the spiders just like dropping down on their webs quickly. That was the shit that had me like fucking freaked out.
Woo, yeah, I agree.
I don't know, man.
I've been dive bombed by wasps before.
Dude,
It's terrifying.
The football one's pretty good too, man, because it just crawls into the helmet and then he's like running and he just
Like,
jerks and
I like
then
how
boom.
He hits the helmet a few times after
Yeah.
he puts it on. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oof, nope.
Yeah, that was and
Fuck
it just,
spiders.
It just crawled for real, dude. They make them so creepy in this, and those aren't like harmful spiders at all, like that are in this movie.
The ones
No.
they used.
Yeah.
No, obviously not.
And
They
they can-
use brown recluses
Yeah.
exclusively in this film.
Yeah,
I
that's
want
right.
it to be real. I want the fear real. Frank Miller.
Marshall?
Not Frank Miller. That's something Frank Miller might actually do.
Frank Marshall. just
Frank Marshall.
more real.
I want it real.
That's a gritty.
So we discover, right, that the underneath the floor is rotting away, and they think it's termites, and so they call probably one of my favorite parts of
Delbert.
this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
John Goodman is fantastic. in
He's
this
it's fucking
movie.
Delbert, dude.
Yeah, Delbert was like a hero at some point in my life.
Yeah, I was like that. I felt the same way about him, and like he realistically only has like 2 big scenes this movie,
Yeah,
but like
that's it.
the scene at the end is just like such an epic scene. You're like, fuck yeah, the fucking bug guy's here.
It's even better to watch it now though, because there's just like so much shit about like nuance about his like comedy style.
Yeah,
that you just don't
I
pick up
got it
till
a
you're
lot more
older.
now as an
Yeah.
adult
Yeah.
for sure.
That's true.
Always like when he meets Julian Sands. It's always nice to meet a colleague. like it's
He's
just.
so arrogant about his like pesticide job or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, man! Like he plays an awesome role in this movie.
Mhm.
I like when he's in the basement looking at the rotted out wood. He's talking about his collection of beer cans.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
And then
got
he
some
pulls out the
Miller
bottle of
Lights.
wine and he's like shaking it like.
He has I got a
It's so
74
fucking
Miller Light can. That's the misprint. Only 100 or so in circulation. Maybe the old maybe the old husband might
Right.
like to come see it.
Would like to know about that. Yeah.
like so.
It's true. Well, yeah, I just love his character. He even has like a great scene where he's actually going around the house and he's spraying for spiders. And,
Yes, at the coach's house.
at the coach's house.
Where it has spread, because I'll tell you what, when that spider comes down and you think the little girls are gonna get it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
oh man, the foot moves right at the right time.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I got to say something though.
Here it
Next
goes.
scene though. Next scene.
shower scene.
Yeah. Right. Like right off the bat, a little like this is like the tail end when this isn't cool anymore.
What do you mean?
I just felt like this girl is supposed to be what, like a 15, 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And like they sexualized the shit out of that spider going down her cleavage.
I felt like
And
it
I was like, that has a weird taste to it right now. Only because I thought like maybe in the 90s, which is like when
I
this film
couldn't
like
tell
comes
if
out.
she was in high school still or not.
She was.
Ah,
I think
man,
she was.
I think
Yeah.
the
Well,
weird.
the son
no.
was definitely in high school.
The weird taste about it was the son, like just staring at her at the end. That was the
Yeah.
weird part. of it.
Wait. No,
Kyle disagrees. That's normal
Wait,
family.
wait, no.
That's normal
Wait,
family.
Well, when the coach introduces him at the party, doesn't she say she's going to college for PE?
yes, she's in college.
So she's college age.
Okay. All right.
is college
All right.
age.
Maybe
That's
she
right.
just read to
Boom.
me as like 15,
Kyle
16.
made it okay.
But thank you, though.
Kyle made it
now it's
okay.
okay to sexualize this teenager.
Kyle made it okay.
Thank you.
Kyle made it okay. He made it okay. She's
Thank
in
you.
college. Thank you, Kyle. Hero. Some people call him a hero.
Yeah.
I would. I would.
Not all heroes wear capes.
It's true, Mike. They all don't. The weird thing in that one that always has caught me, and it's
Yeah.
like every time I've seen it, is the fucking way the brother just lingers and
I
looks.
mean, the brother and the dad.
Well, because
Yeah.
the dad breaks in. Yeah, but the dad thing's not weird to me because it's like, you know what, dude? It's your kid. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? I get that it's a grown daughter, but it's like, come on, what? You're fucking screaming like you're my kid. I came in here to protect
But the
you.
way they, it's just the,
the
way
brother's
they shot
like,
it.
the brother's like,
Yeah.
oh, good naked girl. That's the weird shit.
That brother just went through puberty.
That's the
in
weird
that
shit.
scene.
I just don't know. I don't know. I thought it was a little. Yeah, that whole scene
It was a little
for some reason
90s.
feels a little weird.
So basically, they
But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Equally terrifying. Soap in the eyes and a spider jumps on you.
I mean, yeah, spider.
Fuck that.
dude, there's some
Spider's
creepy.
scary.
And the toilet. John Goodman feeling under the
Reaching
toilet
around,
and
yeah.
missing it. This
Yeah.
is creepy because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, when he sits down on the toilet, like he's gonna get bit. Like that's the worst place you could get bit by a spider and die is on the shitter.
Yeah. that's
Especially when these spider kill you, like just choking on the toilet violently with your pants down, so degrading. Just like, and the fear of that because you're like, that's just not. I would never want to go that way. That's why it's so scary because you're like, I don't want to die that way. I wouldn't want to die on the shitter from a spider bite.
That would be horrible.
And you're waiting for it to happen,
Bite your
but it doesn't
butthole.
happen. Right? I know.
Ugh.
No,
It's very vulnerable.
doesn't happen. You know, and
And he
then,
has a showdown with one. We actually get to see him try to use his chemicals on him, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
it doesn't work.
It's
They're
yeah.
super spiders.
Yet another weird, like a thing that starts going like, God damn it, like, because these spiders. Let's get some backstory. I know we kind of glossed over it, but like they explain the spider as being like an ancient species of spider
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
but they're so invincible that I'm like, how do these things like not survive?
I don't know.
Like,
I
why do
don't-
they stay? Why
I
are they
don't-
not
hold
running
on.
the earth?
No, because they can't get out of their environment.
I didn't feel like
Why?
They
that
said they
was.
couldn't
I
escape.
didn't feel like that part was unbelievable. Like I personally like one place I lived at. I used to live at.
Had an unknown
We
species
had,
of
we
spider.
had we
Couldn't kill
had a wicked black widow infestation.
Ugh.
Fucking like
Nightmares.
I've found at least 4 or 5 almost the size of a fucking ping pong ball.
Yeah,
like,
but black
huge.
widows.
But I
Okay.
bought spider spray to kill spiders, and I would spray them, and they would stop for a minute, and then they'd keep moving, and then spray and
Yeah,
stop.
but that's not
like,
what I mean. Yeah, I mean the invincibility of it is one thing.
well, that's
right?
what I'm saying.
But-
It's believable that it would be invincible.
These spiders have been given the trait that all I can see is they set up shop and they want to mercilessly kill everything around them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like to which why aren't these things like like why isn't it over for the human race?
Well,
Because,
because they
they
couldn't
could
get out-
never get out of the sinkhole.
The sinkhole.
But why? They're spiders. They could just build a fucking web. Like I don't understand why that was so.
They don't need to.
Humans
they
can
own that
easily
sink-
go up and down.
They weren't prepared.
have
They
no-
weren't prepared for the
they have
suburbia.
no natural migration pattern.
They weren't prepared for suburbia.
Wait a second. The
That
fucking
one's not even
general is
suburbia.
basically given
Country.
sentient abilities like a human being, and he outsmarts people. Like to me, it's like the migration is this thing wants to kill, and it is smart enough to like open doors and shit.
Listen, he had to leave.
They don't have a long lifespan, so they just need to keep like
What-
procreating
what-
and
That's true.
What-
spreading.
What
That's
Mike
true.
doesn't know is that the general had some very strict parents who this is something they grew up with for a very long time. This is a
yes, Duke and Dane spider
yes.
had their child General
It's-
Spider.
It's a family tradition that you grow up in the rainforest, you work in the rainforest, you stay in the rainforest.
Just wanted to get
and
away.
you keep and he's
want to
like
see the world.
he wanted to
He's
see
gonna
the
pass
world.
that rainforest down to his
Yeah.
kid.
Met a girl.
Met a girl, met a different girl too. You know.
Yeah,
You know what
somebody
I
his
mean?
parents would never have approved of.
Yes,
She's
definitely.
too small, they would say.
It's exactly. So we're also missing we're missing where Chris comes in. That's because as this stuff is going on with Dilbert, basically what's happening is Jeff Daniels, Dr. Jennings is basically calling around to the spider specialist saying, "Hey, we now know this is spiders. They got this crazy toxin and it's killing people. We've never seen anything like this." And he talks to the doctor, and they kind of he sends his assistant because again another
He
asshole
talks
move.
to Dr. Atherton.
He talks
Yes.
to Dr. Atherton and tells him, "Hey, we have a spider problem here. You may remember the city may be familiar to you because your photographer's from here."
Mhm.
So what's he do? He's like, "Oh, cool. I can be there in a couple of days, but here's my assistant."
Because
Like,
he's an asshole.
I know.
Like
He wanted to
yeah.
make sure it was really
worth
bad
his
enough.
time
Yeah,
to
exactly.
go
yeah,
down
like
there.
that's the part of it where I'm just kind of
Because
like,
even when Chris shows up, he has that attitude like, okay, like, is this going to be some bullshit? Like, yeah, whatever. But then we discover that
It's not bullshit.
it's not bullshit at all.
No, and then they go on the hunt for one, which is pretty awesome.
That's
and
a terrifying scene too.
Great scene, dude.
yeah.
What a great scene when it jumps out from behind the fucking picture. Holy
Oh.
shit.
Woo,
Yeah.
yeah.
because you're waiting for it. It builds that scene. That whole scene builds tension the whole time. They're searching through cups. They're searching through this whole house. You're like, where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? And it's behind nothing, so you're not expecting it when it finally hits.
Mhm.
It hits right at the right time. Timing is perfect.
That's right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels plays that part perfectly right there of just frozen in fear, can't really move, but has to come over it. Great speech about like how your fucking endorphins kick in. You can do it, Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Everybody's cheering him on except 9-year-old fucking Mike, who's just like, fuck you, Jeff Daniels.
Die.
I hope that
Daniels.
spider just fucking rips your
Die.
face off. Which is so
Death to Daniels.
again, it's so weird. I don't
Just hate his
I
face.
don't know why. But great tension. But through this, basically, the doctor comes in and they realize, hey, you know what? Dilbert and Dr. Atherton are together, and they're like, hey, we got to go back to the barn. This is where this originated.
Right.
So they go back to the barn, and Dr. Atherton tell him, hey, go Dilbert, you go tell everybody that this shit is here. I got this. Real cocky motherfucker. Who goes and plays with the spider web? I think,
Dilbert?
no,
it's
no,
not
it's
Dilbert.
It's
it's
not
doc, no,
Dilbert.
it's Dr. I
No,
know
no,
who
no.
it is. It's
no,
a
the
rhetorical.
one who took him there.
No, I'm saying the rhetorical question of who
No,
would
I'm
be
just saying
fucking
you had
dumb
that,
enough.
that you had that part wrong. I'm just saying the cop took him to the barn.
Yeah. Cop takes him to the barn.
Oh, cop tape. Sorry, cop takes. You're right. Cop takes.
Sheriff.
Who would be dumb enough to fucking play with the dinner?
Well, the fucking the
like-
fucking spider expert.
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
like, he knows what he clearly appears to know what he's doing. I will let him
Yeah.
do this.
They
No,
already
I
set
agree
that
with
up
that.
too, because that's how he would get him to come out, like at the one that he had at his office.
And
Yeah.
keep in mind that, like, up until this point, the big problem about this doctor is, like, they make his ego get to him. Like, that's the
Yes.
thing that kills him.
Mhm.
And I think what it is, too, is because there are so many instances where he keeps asking experts about spiders, and the experts are saying, well, spiders don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, spider can't kill a person like that.
Mhm.
And, like, spiders don't migrate that way. And each time they're wrong,
Yeah.
right? So I just think this guy goes in there and he's like, I know exactly how to lure spiders. I've done this 100 times. I know every species of spider. Don't worry. This is going to work 101 times. And, like, it does not.
Yeah,
It does not work the way he wants it
works
to.
out poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's dead.
No, he's dead now.
Oh, he
And
dies.
now Spider's like, you know what? This barn ain't good enough for me.
Well,
Time
no,
to-
they had already moved in. They already set up shop in the wine
Well, yeah,
cellar
they had
earlier.
they had a little bit of a they moved there a little earlier, but he's still chilling in the barn. So now
Which, by the way, is not the only thing that they make correct. Is that I believe it is John Goodman's character that says it, right? Says, no, that wouldn't make any sense. Spider wouldn't be in a
right.
in
Yeah.
a barn. It would be in somewhere wet and moist.
Yeah.
And blah 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 blah. That's like the only thing that ever comes true,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it comes from the exterminator.
Right. I think that's the brilliance of it,
Yeah.
actually, though. It's like, because he's painted as kind of the doofus, but he's actually the hero.
Right.
of
now
the
this is
movie.
where my favorite part of the movie kicks in, and that's when Jeff Daniels shows back up at his house, and then it's just an invasion of fucking spiders.
Oh,
out of
dude.
But the way he
Every-
comes in,
every fucking direction is it's amazing.
I love the way he comes in though, because they're trying to be like, let's just be cool
like, don't
about
scare
this.
the kids.
And he's like the most uncool anyone could be. Like,
He's looking around the room. Like, at first, the family doesn't really pick up
It's
on
such
it.
Yeah.
a real reaction, though.
It is.
Like it's
it
so
is,
great.
it
But did
is.
this film like like this scene remind you of any other films?
Yeah.
I feel like what did it remind you of?
I you know what? When I actually watched this back, I was like, holy shit, this is like a newer film. I'll say, not like
Okay.
an older film. But I thought that Slither might have been a little bit influenced by this.
Exactly what I thought. Was
Yeah.
like this feels like Slither, and then I thought about it. I was like, and it also feels like Night of the Creeps a little bit.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like as if they had seen Night of the Creeps, they continued it, and James Gunn did the same thing. Like
Yeah.
you know that shot where like everything's invading this one nice like suburban house.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well, I wonder if it comes. I know that this movie, and I cannot remember the name of it. It might be the one that you referenced earlier. There's a movie that that people online have said that this movie pretty much rips off.
What's that?
I think it is Kingdom of Spiders. I could be wrong.
Kingdom of the Spider from '74.
Yeah, but it's an older film. It's an older film with spiders. I can't remember which one it is, but I've read on. I was reading online, but a lot of people said like it's this movie rips off a lot of. So it could be something that
I'd
movie
be curious
started.
which one that is.
Yeah, it could be something that an earlier film like that
I read
started.
that they were aiming for more of like the birds, but with spiders. Like
I
that was
mean,
kind of like their model.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that any of these films came up with the concept of
yeah,
Spiders just
normal
being
everyday
invaded. Yeah,
like creatures all of a sudden deciding they want to turn on humanity. And you're right, like yeah, birds is a clear example of that.
This,
Yeah.
I mean, this one's terrifying because it feels like there's just hundreds of them out of all
This
sudden.
scene, yeah, this scene is just. I had even thought like this. Okay, this seems excessive. Like, was there really this many spiders like chilling in their walls,
well,
just waiting to fucking strike?
That's the thing is like when you realize. I've looked it up before. I don't remember exactly how many it is, but like when spiders lay eggs, it's like hundreds.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What I thought you were saying was the timing was weird. I thought the timing was weird too. Like they're just like
No, I thought the time was
hanging
weird
out.
because up to this point we're dealing with 1 or 2 spiders in this house, 1 spider in this house, and then all of a sudden that house is like
Well, they were
oh,
all coming from the
80,000.
barn. They were all coming from the barn.
Right,
and so
but
they
like
were
what I'm
migrating.
saying is like
How many
are they
egg
smart enough
sacs?
to realize we've been had? Let's go get the
No,
family.
no.
Or did they just
Well,
like
this is-
decide to hatch right now?
No.
They have a short lifespan, so I feel like they were just hatched and they were like
Okay.
happened to coincidentally start
Well, 'cause-
coming
no,
out when
it's
everybody was
not-
trying to leave.
It's not. No. It's not a coincidence, because you also have to realize a human just affected the general. There's one thing that is brought up early in this film that I don't think we touched on is kind of important to the story, that these spiders are asexual. So we realize that they don't have any reproductive organs, so they're drone spiders. This is like they'd never seen this in a spider before.
It's like
where,
an ant
where-
colony. Or
yeah, like an
something.
ant colony where there's a queen or there's a head one that controls what the other ones do.
So
That's
so
where the generals
so
gets the name
yeah.
of general. Basically,
So it is they've been had.
Yeah.
Yes,
They realize it. The general, at least the general realizes it
realize
and
it.
says, "Go, my minions, and go get them."
Calls the troops in.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
basically,
okay.
yes.
Gotcha.
And they just swarm the fucking house.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. This scene is just it's shot so well. It's so terrifying. And like as they're, it's like a haunted house. Like every single thing, like you go up the stairs, all of a sudden shit's dropping down on top of
Yeah.
them. They get in the bathroom, and all of a sudden the sink, they're all
Dude,
pouring out of the sink.
I
and
love when he
shit.
gets the family out and just trips over the banister and just falls through the fucking.
Oh,
floor.
I know.
Yeah.
I love that setup for the rotted out floors. So it's just like when he falls through, it's like, well, yeah, you got bad wood.
Yeah, and then but then it brings up the great thing because he's like, oh shit, they're down here. Both of them are down here because there's no other spiders and there's no other.
Yeah, and
spiders.
those
Yeah.
spiders won't come down. They won't come
Yeah.
down. They're just chilling on the outside.
Yes, because the mama and the papa are down there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And this is when I forgot until I watched it recently with my son, this part of the movie and I thought, what an amazing fucking thing to pull off. You literally pull off a fucking boss battle with a spider and a human.
Mhm.
It's pretty goddamn inventive.
See, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
This scene, this whole segment, like disappointed me. I thought it looked like cheesy as fuck.
Really?
Yeah, like when the spider goes at him and he grabs it and stuff like that. It looked like he was like like it's almost like when you're playing with like your little brother or some shit, you're pretending like his teddy bear is attacking you. Like it felt like he was guiding a dead like stuffed animal thing,
I see.
and he was doing all the pantomiming.
Yeah.
And to me, I kind of felt like, oh man, this is like kind of cheesy looking. This is like something I would see in like a 20s horror film.
I will
won't-
say there's a few shots that do give it more of a puppet look.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then for me, they make it up with like the anticipation of like him sitting on the ground and it climbing up on his leg
Yes.
and like getting closer and
Dude,
closer.
I was going to add to what you're saying about this. I agree. I feel like that end scene didn't feel as intense as I thought it was as a child. It did come off a little more cartoony to me
It
in
does-
certain scenes.
Okay, it does come off cartoony as an adult, but here's the thing I'll give you. When I first watched this with Eben, and the scene came up, he was laying in his bed, and he's watching this movie, and this battle starts with the queen and the general, and as it's going on, he goes from laying down in his bed to sitting up to standing up out of bed, and then walking closer and closer to the TV as the tension builds from like, you know, the first spider getting electrocuted, and then you know the wine stuff falling on Jeff Daniels, and he's throwing the bottles at it as it comes at him, and my kid's entranced in this, and he's literally just into it, so into it that I'm like, Eben. He's finally like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, and he runs back and gets in bed. He literally forgot where he was. He was so into it.
Are you sure he wasn't communicating with a poltergeist? Because if that scene happened and a little kid did that to me, I'd piss my pants. The way you describe that sounds like something out of a horror movie. And
He just
gets
looked
up,
back at Cody.
and
They're here.
I tried to get his attention, and he wouldn't listen to me. And finally, he was like, "What, father?"
Well, see,
I know that feeling because that's how it was for me when I was a kid. I loved TV and movies so much that I couldn't hear my parents when they would call my name or say like, And eventually, like,
Shit, that never happened to me. My
no,
parents
I
beat the
was
shit out of
so
me.
zoned. I was so zoned in that my mom would have to say my name 6 or 7 times, like, before I would hear her.
Because
But
you guys didn't have Italian parents.
No.
Fucking wooden spoon coming out if that happened. If I didn't get
No,
it
I
on
got
the
the wooden
first try, whack.
What I'm saying is for a child, the tension built so much for him that it caused him to get out of bed and be drawn into the story so much
Sure.
that he's like got to be up front with it.
It's
Yeah,
a good. I mean,
yeah.
again, the one thing I'm not going to disagree on is the tension. We've said it this whole podcast. This film does a great job of ramping up tension and suspense and building it. It's just when it cuts to, it's funny that this battle in here. I feel like there are moments where I think it's cool and they did a really good job, and then there's some parts I'm just like, this is cheesy as fuck looking.
It also kind of has to be because, I mean, for this movie at the same time, it's like, again, they're bugs. So what is the ending? What do you do? And like, I thought for what they have and what you can use, like they were creative with it, and they started a final fight with like a villainous
Yeah.
2 spiders,
Mhm.
and they made it to the point to where like, yeah, you might be, well, this is a little hokey, but you're not like, well, it doesn't ruin the movie.
Yeah, and I will
No, it didn't ruin
I
the
will
movie.
say about this scene though, while this is all going on, like the best scene I feel like in this entire movie is happening upstairs because Dr. Jang's wife and kids and the scientist assistant get down off the roof, and then a truck comes peeling up with the lights on, and out, and there's Dilbert like in fucking war gear with his
with his special
with
brew.
his fucking. It's just basically acid.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
It's just acid, and
He's
got
bottled
he's
alien
got
acid
double
and-
guns. He's dual wielding some fucking spray cannons with his fucking hard
It's
hat
got a
on, and
headlamp.
headlamp going on. It's a chin strap for some reason.
And like fuck the organ man.
It's basically like his
It's like rock
Ghostbusters
and roll.
outfit.
Well,
you know?
but he rolls in there like it then starts shooting like a western, dude.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
blasting away. It is pretty cool.
I've loved that scene since the first time I see this movie.
Yeah.
I loved it this time. It's just fun.
It's a cool scene.
Basically, what happens though is they end up he ends up killing the spider, setting the eggs on fire, and Delbert saves the day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, first he kills.
Is that it?
First he kills the queen.
He kills the queen first on the electrical box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
catches that thing on fire in there, and then he uses. They foreshadow the gun, the nail gun that he
Yes.
keeps using, like in the movie,
Such a cool
as
part,
the
dude.
final weapon,
Mm-hmm.
where he has just that lucky shot.
which
You
is
know
so
what's
cool.
Really, you know what's really weird? This is a weird coincidence. Like, I always thought that wasn't like a real thing. Like that was just a prop gun.
What, a nail gun?
No,
Wasn't a real
the
thing?
kind that he has.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Like I just thought that was because most of the nail guns are like air powered, but these ones actually use. I just watched a video where someone used this to actually frame up a basement, and it's a gunpowder. It's gunpowder caps that fire the nail, and then
wow.
cocks like that to load it.
That's a thing, huh?
It was a thing, and I was like,
Wow.
watch this. I'm like, oh shit, that's actually a real thing. And
You
I was
can-
like googling, like, where do I buy these?
Holy shit!
I don't fucking need it, but I
We're
want it.
gonna buy one of these in case a spider shows up in my house. Just Kyle, cuckoo, cuckoo, just nails everywhere. Like misses it every
Babe,
time.
it's a spider there in the house.
Careful of all the nails.
Fucking nails in the ground. It's
On the walls and shit.
A trail of fucking nails.
Why did you buy that goddamn nail gun, Kyle?
Why the hell did you review Arachnophobia? God damn it.
And after this, what do they decide? Well, fuck this small town anyways, and they just moved back to San Francisco.
Yeah, they move home where they know how, where they know
How to deal with the BS?
They,
in San
they know what the
Francisco.
BS is. They know what to expect and anticipate.
That's right, earthquakes.
Except there's an earthquake, which like almost feels like it's like a sequel.
This dude.
Doesn't it feel like I was like for a second I was like
Ooh.
I don't remember this.
Like maybe the earthquake
part.
opened up the earth and there's spiders that come
This
out and
is-
attack the
It wasn't
city.
even so much that, it was just like
It's actually the
when
prequel
it happened,
to.
I thought it was a sequel. Like they were doing one of those like, oh, we're gonna make a sequel of this film.
Yeah.
Like
It's-
I thought that for
Yeah.
a second.
I
was like,
thought that too.
oh, they're
Even
just
the
making a
first time I
joke.
saw it, I thought
Yeah.
that too. But
Huh.
It's actually the lead into the movie Volcano, starring Tommy Lee
Yeah.
Jones.
Oh, I
That
didn't know
earthquake
that.
actually is
He
because of
starts with
Volcano.
Jeff Danielson saying, "I would have taken the spiders," and then just cuts to Tommy Lee Jones.
Having to fix the city after this volcano comes up underneath the tar pits in California. Everybody knows. Come on, guys. They go right into each other. But that is, I mean, that's the film right there.
I thought you were going to end the show.
Yeah,
Like, no
no,
review
that's
this
our
time, huh?
show.
One of the things I do want to go back and talk about too, we didn't touch on it very much, is probably, like I said, the thing that haunted me the fucking most from this film and made me literally afraid of spiders, and that's the goddamn spiders in the fucking popcorn in the mortician's house.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
and can we talk about? We didn't actually talk about that couple. That's actually another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
What's that?
I felt like they were doing like a fat joke and it was going on too long. Did anybody get
I
that?
got that vibe.
I just thought they were just
They kept taking
characters.
food
They-
and stealing food, and they kept making food. And they were always eating.
Always
I kind of
talking
felt
about
like,
food.
and it was like Mimi from friggin' like the Drew Carey show.
Yeah,
and, like,
Yeah.
I was
right.
just kind of like, that seems like really insensitive. Like this is a fucking like it's like this
just a fucking
couple of like
stereotypical
slothish kind of.
character.
I don't know what else to say they were trying to
I mean,
pull off.
did
I didn't
you
like
enjoy
it.
them?
I mean,
Did
that
you
guy
enjoy
was
them?
eating in every single scene. That
So
was
was
a,
she.
That was
they
a
were
running.
stealing food.
No,
they were
well,
like, she
yeah.
steals a bunch of
Oh,
like
she
hors d'oeuvres and
steals
stuff,
food
and
from
it
the-
made me feel like
Margaret makes a
okay.
joke about it.
Yeah,
She's like, "Would you like a doggy bag?"
Yeah.
When they're leaving the party,
and they
They're
leave
no,
like
we're
all
fine.
guilt-ridden looking, and I was just like, that's a kind of insensitive.
No, man, that's
Another
what-
joke that it felt like didn't
Yeah.
I
age
mean,
well.
if they're stealing,
oh, you think it was about them being thieves?
I mean, if
Jesus Christ!
I'm just
Chris-
saying,
Chris
like,
is-
there's two
listen,
sides to
listen,
the story.
do not-
Historically, Chris does not leave
not-
anything behind.
Yeah.
do not break into Chris's house because he will fat shame you. He will-
I guess there's just some eras that I accept, like, kind of politically incorrect
yeah,
things
same here.
from,
Same
and
here.
mid-90s is definitely one of those
Oh, yeah.
eras.
Right. No, I'm not. I mean, like, look, I understand, and we've watched worse films
Oh,
than
yeah.
this. But I kind of was. There's a part of me that's like, when you see a film and it's kind of close to your millennium, like the one that you remember, the one you're currently living in,
Mhm.
and you see it even that close up in history, you kind of are like, huh.
I
Like
feel
it has a more of an impact. It
But
has a
it
weird
does.
impact.
I will
It
say
does.
I might be mistaken or wrong in saying this, but I do feel like it was a bit of a Hollywood cliche in the '90s that the fat white dude always got it. He always died in these movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
I
I've
think
seen
that
that
was
in a
something that-
shitload
Oh yeah,
of movies.
maybe
like
something
that.
like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that happens.
Well, that guy
Does
was.
happen
He
in
was.
Jurassic Park.
But he was, to Chris's point, also a thief.
Yeah.
True,
Also a thief.
So he had
Yeah.
it coming.
dude. Chris has nailed it.
Yeah.
This is a weird conversation. I don't know if I feel about any of it.
Okay.
What do you
I do.
say we rate this Mammer Jammer?
Let's fucking do it.
All right, Cody, what do you want to rate it?
I mean, I think we should definitely rate this popcorn bowls.
Popcorn.
Bowls of popcorn?
Bowls.
Bowls of popcorn.
Sure.
I, think
Yeah.
I want a popcorn bowl, a bowl that has
But
a
No popcorn in it,
has
but it's,
popcorn
it's
design.
meant for popcorn.
Yeah, it's
is this?
It's got a popcorn pattern.
Yeah.
Did I say a bowl of popcorn?
Yeah.
I said
No,
a popcorn
I said a popcorn
bowl.
bowl. When I want a bowl made of fucking popcorn, you will give it to me. Now I'm gonna go watch Infinity War.
Again. And I'm gonna watch it again until you fucking get it right.
Get me some Reese's Pieces, and I think we might be good for the day.
Oh, that sounds good.
Let's start. You know what? I'm gonna start with Mike because that's the one I'm most interested about.
So this is a rare occurrence, I think, in cult film history. I think in review history. Normally it's, hey, let's review a movie from your childhood and ruin it. Like this is the one time where I was kind of like, yeah, where was all this misplaced hate from? It's not a bad film.
No.
Like I think I like it better than when I did when I was a kid. I don't know why I hated this film so much. Yeah, but with that being said, like there's some like glaring flaws in this film that I feel like it doesn't age very well. I think there's some certain things that like I don't know, man. Like the spiders looked real cheap to me sometimes. Like they just looked really puppety, but like not in a good like 80s, like in a Congo way.
Yeah, it's
Like it did feel like, okay, man, you could have put some more money into this animatronics. Like this is kind of terrible. Again, like that Jeff Daniels fight to me just seems like a grown man fighting with a teddy bear. Like it's just really weird. I feel like he's just it's awkward. But I do want to say one thing about this film also is that of all the films that we reviewed, this one gave me the most weird sense of nostalgia because I don't know who supplied all the props for this film. I have a vague suspicion it was like Target or something because everything that was in Jeff Daniels' house is something that my mom had in her house. Like the soap dispensers, we had the blue ones with like these fucking geese on it. Like it was all stuff where I was like, we had that. We had that
This
fucking
was
stuff.
filmed
That's some
in their
next level
house.
shit right there, man. He was really immersing
Yeah.
you.
But this is what I'm thinking. My theory is that this is a relatively big budget film produced by a relatively big budget. I mean, not even relatively. Like it's Steven Spielberg, right?
Big as it
I
gets.
feel like at some point in time somebody said, "Hey, Target, can you give us can you provide all the props for this film or something like that?" Like,
they probably wanted to make it feel like your home, like
well, no,
it
I
could
think
happen
all
to you.
films do that,
Yeah.
right? Like they all try to like Stranger Things. There are times when I see oh, I had that toy when I was a kid because they're trying. This film felt like just by happenstance,
No.
it collected all this shit that my mom also bought.
Mm.
And I'm wondering if all '90s kids had this fucking shit.
That was a popular style maybe at the time.
Maybe.
Blue Goose.
So
Blue
I
Geese.
also want to give it
Blue Goose.
some props up for that. But I just don't think that this film is better than 3 for me. I can't I don't know if I can justify this film has a fucking a 92?
92,
on
yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes. Fucking Green Book didn't get that and won an Oscar. Like I don't understand. Like this film is a little highly I'm wondering if they're just pulling from critics from the 90s. Like this can't be newer people reviewing this, right? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Well, I
We
mean,
got
we're
3
doing it
right here.
I mean, we're doing it right now.
But for me, I was really surprised that this film was that highly regarded. I don't know.
all right, let's go.
Fuck Jeff Daniels.
Jesus.
Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Go on, sorry.
Let's go to Kyle next. Kyle, what would you give this? About a 92%?
Give it about 92%. Yeah, Cody.
That's about right. Yeah.
I love this movie. I love this movie when I was a kid. Every time I see it, I feel like it actually has aged quite well. I will agree with so Mike, you mentioned the spiders look a little cheesy. I'll agree only with regards to the general and its close-up shots,
Mhm.
the animatronic aspect. I mean, the rest of the spiders are real spiders, and there's no cheesy or believable or not. They're just terrifying because they're real spiders. So it worked for me. I don't know, man. I really love this movie. I think it's a great story. It's edited superbly well. They do such a great job with suspense and mood and building all these different scenes and these seemingly innocuous events, like finding a spider in their house. So what? Everyone finds a spider, but these ones are fucking deadly. And the filmmaker did a great job of actually ramping up that level of danger for me as an audience member. So I'm going to come in on this one like a 4, 4.5, maybe 4.
Whoa.
I think I'll do a 4.
That was between
four
yeah, I
balls
mean
popcorn.
85 I might respect. 92 he almost went there.
He almost went to 92.
And I was like, don't give it a 92%.
I'm gonna go 4. I think 4 is safe. I mean, there's no way that I wouldn't. I don't know if I could say this is a perfect film. There's clearly some issues with it. I think with it, there's little character flaws, and I mean, there are small little aspects of it that do feel dated, but in a slightly good way. So I don't know. I'm not 100% 5, so it's a 4.
Clearly.
Congratulations. The most mathematically accurate. I'm clearly not a 5
Yeah.
because it is lower than 5. It is a 4.
I mean, it's obvious that it's not a 5.
Anyone who knows
Because
anything
I said
about
4.
numbers knows that 4 is smaller than 5.
It's actually one less.
I fancy myself a bit of a mathematician.
Chris?
Glad we captured that. I agree with so much of what Kyle said.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Not a mic. Didn't hear a mic in that sentence.
No, I mean,
he's gonna go the opposite of me.
Yeah, it's going with a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
going back into this movie, there's seriously not much about this movie that I can say I don't like. I love the
I'm so
performances.
confused.
No, I love the performances. I love the comedy and horror mixture. I almost feel like on this watch, this might be my favorite genre of film is family horror comedy.
Okay.
Like The Burbs kind of falls into this category. Spielberg does this in certain aspects. Frank Marshall clearly does this in certain aspects. This is a movie that definitely made me afraid of spiders. And I guess I'm okay with it because it was just that effective. What can I say, dude? 5. I'm
Holy
going
shit.
full 5 on Arachnophobia.
Couldn't
Like,
tell.
I was
thought you were gonna.
I was
seriously
so-
was like, but I gotta be honest with you. Fuck Jeff Daniels.
I was like,
I
that
get
was
it
such a
now.
roller
2.
coaster. I thought like he's like you started that was like I gotta say I agree with a lot of things, but here's the thing. Here's some more shit I liked about it.
Wait, you think it's gonna get better? It is.
Yeah. You might be
It just
right.
got better.
Can't think of anything I disliked. Honestly, no. It is a 5. 5 bowls of popcorn. And yeah, I mean, very effective film. Very masterfully done, in my opinion, for its target audience. I think it's great.
I'm convinced. I'm a 4.5 now. Chris is convinced to me.
I will be the last one to shore up this ship here, and I will say, yeah.
Yeah, I know where it's coming.
No.
Oh.
I'm gonna go. I'm actually where Kyle originally was. I'm at a
4?
I'm at a 4.
All right, that's
I'm
a
coming
pretty.
back down to 4 now. Thanks.
Jesus, Kyle.
Man.
This
The influencers over here.
this
I didn't know you had such a
I don't know what
fluid
team. I
movie.
don't know what team to align myself
God,
with here.
Mommy,
Just keep
daddy,
changing your
stop
mind.
fighting. You can have them both.
if I had to sum up this movie in one word, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And the thing is that the ending does get a little hokey. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. It gets a little. It gets a little hokey, and it
It's
does.
campy. This whole
Yeah.
film is campy.
It shows-
No, it's not the whole film.
I
You
wouldn't say
didn't
the
feel
whole-
like it,
the
it
whole
dips
film
into
has-
like kind of
has some
cool
campiness.
action, and then all of a sudden it's like
No,
I don't know.
Why do you think don't take campy as it's a bad? I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying that.
Campy. It. What Cody said, it's fun. There's like these moments that are like
no, I know.
tongue in cheek, like haha. That's kind
Like when
of
a body dries up, it looks like a fucking shriveled up raisin.
So
it's
everybody,
kind of funny,
everybody saw
but it's
this as
morbid.
a campy film through and through, or did you kind of feel like
It was a fun.
No.
It was a fun adventure film, but it had those campy elements that
He
make
does-
it just a little bit more fun.
Delbert was
all right.
probably a good
Frank-
example.
Frank-
I'm
of
sorry,
that.
we're cutting into your
No, but Frank
your
Marshall.
review.
It brings up a good point that I'll say. Frank Marshall does a really good job of blending serious with comedy. Because they do try to make it feel, when it is the serious, scary moments, they do try to make it feel serious and scary. And then hit you with a little bit of comedy, so it's not too terrifying. I mean, there's just some things that I do feel a little off of this film, for me. It's some of the characters, some of the choices that, like, again, why were they dicks to the photographer the whole I just don't understand, like, little choices like that. So I'm at a 4. But this is again fun.
It is.
I will ask this. I want to go around because I know Kyle answered. I don't know if everybody else did. Where do you guys stand on the cult film thing? Is this a cult film or not?
I don't think it's a
Mike?
cult film. I don't know, because there is a part of me that's like, I feel anybody that grew up but then again, is it a marketing thing? Like, I feel like everybody remembers this film.
I think it's a beloved film.
It's like a Rocketeer.
From the
like
90s. It's
you
like
say,
one of our
you say
beloved
Rocketeer,
films.
people are like, "Oh, fucking Rocketeer!" Like you say Arachnophobia, they're like, "Oh, fucking like
John Goodman.
yeah, oh man, I remember that one."
Yeah, but it's 3
Um,
people here that like it, not because of the marketing.
No, I
You know
understand
what I
that, but
mean?
what I'm trying to
So-
figure out is just like, okay, yeah, no, you make a good point. If it's clearly beloved, it's got a 92%
I mean,
on Rotten
does-
Tomatoes.
To me, it's like I feel like we've asked this question about the other films that we've done that are in this camp, like the same camp as this film, like the Frank Marshall, Spielberg, Joe Dante, like these are beloved films, and they're mainstream, and they're
Mhm.
obviously big, huge, successful films. 22 million, made 50.
yeah.
I mean, that's not a huge gross.
It's not, but it's,
It's
not
double.
a loss.
It made
it's not a loss.
it made a lot on video rentals. It made like 30 million, I think, on video rentals.
Okay, so
Well, there
there's-
you go. Then it was definitely a success. Yeah.
Yeah, they scooped, so they kept scooping it, and there's nobody that came out of the 90s that if you said, have you heard of Arachnophobia, would say
I
probably no.
Yeah.
Like they would probably mostly say yes. They've
That's
heard
what
of
I'm
this
thinking
film.
too. Yeah.
So to me, that's just like a popular film. I don't know necessarily that it's a cult film,
It's a weird thing.
but
It's a weird thing for me. I'll say, just to interrupt. No,
90s nostalgia for sure.
but here's the thing. It was like a rite of passage for me to show this to my kid.
I
Like,
know. I
you know
agree
what I
with
mean?
that. Yeah,
It's a-
you
it
want
was
to
a
pass
weird-
it on.
It's a weird thing that I was like, I need to pass this movie on. This is something you need to see. This needs to scare you like it scared me.
Yeah.
You just need it. I don't know why. It's a weird problem.
It's
Probably a
healthy,
terrible
you know,
parent.
healthy.
It's
I'm a
it's a
terrible
life
parent,
it's
but-
a life skill thing. You know, now he's gonna have a healthy fear of spiders.
Dude, no, he already doesn't like. He already knows that I don't like bugs, so he already has a fear of bugs.
I will say, can I say, maybe I'm the only person too that even as a kid and now, like this film doesn't scare me.
Yeah, are you scared of spiders?
Like, I mean, I am very scared of insects.
Yeah, but you're not scared specifically of spiders.
Not like, not necessarily I see a spider
And
and
I think that's the
start
difference.
fucking
Like the
running.
jump scares, if it was any other thing, wouldn't be enough to get me. But because
Cricket-
there's the added level of like just like skin crawling of the fact that it's a spider, for me, it works better.
The cricket in the film, the jump scare with the cricket in the film, didn't get Kyle. Wasn't a spider.
Yeah.
It
was
was
right.
fine. Didn't
Oh,
get
can
him.
I
Didn't-
tell you what-
actually didn't get me.
I do want to say there is one creature that absolutely they do not get right in this film, and that is cats. There are two instances where like this spider is crawling on the floor. These cats are just like, I don't want any part of that.
No, the cat. Listen,
There's no fucking cat. It doesn't matter if a small creature is scurrying. It could be the most poisonous thing on the planet. That cat's gonna play with it like a death toy. Like
I don't know. It made a loud
Ooh.
hiss. I've seen cats like run away from shit.
they can
oh, I
sense it.
don't
They
know,
have
man.
they have a sixth sense.
I've seen
You
cats
think?
run away from
I
shit.
feel like-
No, they're part of the animal kingdom.
I
They
haven't seen
understand.
I haven't seen a bug scurry across my floor. My cat doesn't just. They don't turn into serial killers. They just fucking.
They would
pounce.
definitely check it out.
Our
They
cats,
would for
our
sure.
cats
Yeah.
suck. They don't do shit. They just look at it and watch it walk by, and you're like, oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah,
My
it's
cat's
so
just
irritating.
fucking murders, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's our show for this week. But before we go, we do have a shout out to do.
So we have a 5-star review here, and it's titled "Loving It." And this is from Saint8475. Says, feels like I'm shooting movie bull with my friends. Only found you a while ago and doing a deep dive into the archives. Great reviews of some horrible guilty pleasure movies. 5 stars, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Saint.
Yeah, and thank you for digging through the archives because thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up because we're almost to 200
Almost
fucking
to
episodes.
200.
We're
Just a
really
few more.
hitting the
This would be. I
crest.
think this is 198.
Thank you, Saint. We really appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
That was a great review. You guys, do us a favor, leave us a review on iTunes. We will give you a shout out at the end of the show. It really, really helps us out. So please do that. And then hang out with us hang out with us. March 15th when we watch Pink Flamingos at Film Bar. They can get tickets where, Chris?
thefilmbarphx.com.
That's right. Get tickets before they're gone.
Before
This
it's
is
too late.
a hot ticket right now in town. Hot ticket.
Hot steaming ticket.
It's fucking. I mean, I got
Pink Flamingos.
people calling me. Hey man, could you get me? And I said I don't know.
I think seeing
I don't
Pink
know if I can get
Flamingos in the theater
Ain't
is
nobody asking
gonna
you
be
for
an
tickets.
experience.
This is I really when we first reviewed it, like
Mhm.
I remember after the show thinking like, I really want to see this on a big screen. I just want to see it with,
with
an audience.
Here's
I
my
wanna see it with
thing.
an audience.
It's an audience view.
Here's
movie.
my thing, and I've said it before, and if you go back and listen to a review, I mean, you'll know it. I'm not the biggest fan of this film, but I am
Neither was
fucking excited to see it with a crowd, just to see everybody's reaction, man.
I think people will be very active.
I hope
with
they
the
are. I
film.
feel like that will make the
Yeah.
film just a little bit better.
So again, March 15th, come out for that. Make sure you follow us on social media, Cult Film in Review on Instagram, @cultfilm_review on Twitter. Check out our Facebook page, our YouTube page. Again, go check that out. And then you can follow Kyle.
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris.
Cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
You can follow Mike.
At Mike's Lucio on Twitter.
And you can follow me at VHS Collect on Instagram, Snapchat. That's our show for this week. Remember, if you're going to join a cult, just make sure to watch good movies. We'll see you next time.